Welcome to Farm TV Africa, and today on our Live and Impact session, we will have a Mr. Arnold, who is the a Mastercard scholar at Earth University, but also a founder at a joint organic aquaponics, who will be here to explain to us what this aquaponics, how he understands, how he thinks also Africans can really benefit from women or other people around the world. Maybe what do they need to know in this aquaponics, what they need to follow, and he will have a session according to teach us, those who do not know at all what this aquaponics, but also those who know how can they make it more profitable for their life. So we'll go to introduce a bit. I want you to explain a bit before we go live to the session by which you'll be teaching on what is this aquaponics on your perspective as somebody who has been through materials for this aquaponics, let us say by studying, but also by being in the field. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, for the invitation and for giving me an opportunity to talk about what I'm really passionate about. Yeah, I think aquaponics is, if you're talking about the future and where we are heading in agriculture, we talk about digital farming, we talk about using drones, we talk about precision agriculture, and we talk about the type of farming that's sustainable. And to me, aquaponics is one of those things. It's one of the solutions that are going to be there for now and for the future. Though, like would say, like currently, like, not so many people know about it, but it has a very big potential in terms of applicability, scalability, and it's something that could, for example, create a lot of employment opportunities in Uganda and in Africa, all over the world, especially people who live in places with water scarcity, that don't have a lot of water, places that don't have reliable electricity, because like you could run the system using like renewable energy, and then places as well that don't have employment. Like if someone has small spaces, we are talking about the increasing population, we're talking about the climate change and all the effects it's having on the soil-based agriculture. So having to grow and having to have plants, especially vegetables and fish at your home, in your backyard, in your garage, it's something that that's going to create a lot of sustainability for communities, and is going to make use of many public spaces, like because there is a lot of, especially in cities, there is a lot of abandoned buildings. And if you look at other places that have thrived so well at doing that in different places, especially in the US and some parts of Europe, you look at how they made advantage of the places, abandoned buildings, to set up aquaponic systems to provide food for people that wouldn't otherwise have food. So I think generally, like speaking, I think it's the solution to some of the problems you're having currently.
Okay, thank you so much. And how can you explain this joint organic aquaponics? How did it come, and how has the impact been since it has begun till now?
Well, joint organic aquaponics started last year. I it's one of the because as I'm doing like agriculture engineering, so courses where we study about like natural resources, we study about how to take care of the environment, and then sort of get that awareness about many issues that are facing places. So we looked at some systems, and one of the systems we looked at was like hydroponics, which is also like a sister to aquaponics, where hydroponics is mainly using solutions without soil to be able to grow vegetables, to be able to have food for people, especially as well as you say, like places that could be deserts, or places that people don't have fertile soils, or just places where people are trying to innovate to create something more sustainable. So, but I'm looking at comparing the hydroponics with aquaponics. I got much interested in aquaponics because there are problems that hydroponics have that aquaponics solves. For example, if you look at the hydroponic systems, most of them they put the nutrient solutions, and then after spreading those nutrient solutions in the system, at the end there is no way to sort of recycle or reuse that water that has the nutrients, you know. So being able to have the aquaponics kind of solves that solution, like, because normally in hydroponics, when they get the when you get after growing, like, you have to take off the water, like throw the water with the nutrients, and when you dump it, it causes so much contamination into the environment. So that's why for me, I sort of thought of aquaponics as a solution, being that in the community where I come from, there is limited access to water, like, and aquaponics systems recycle the water, so you actually save 90% of the water that you use in conventional agriculture. So that's like a huge solution to many small scale farmers and many people that wouldn't otherwise be able to grow their food. And so that's like the first solution. The second solution is the system is kind of like recirculating and it's natural. So you have the water from the fish be reused in the plants as nutrients. And that's something that creates little waste. So you're going to have um, the water that we would maybe throw, or like in rivers or in water sources or in the soil, you're going to be able to reuse it in the system. So you're saving the water. And obviously, like, looking at the solution of scalability, because like many people would say, okay, I don't have money to start up that. There is that sort of scale that you could do it on a large scale or on a small scale. So that helps you. And in many communities, especially in Africa, there is a lot of materials like plastics. There is a lot of containers, tubes that are always thrown to the water streams, to rivers. Those things can be used to create aquaponic systems. You could get a disposed tank to actually use it to be able to act as a fish tank in your system. So to me, it sort of provides a solution to many people. So I'm working on implementing it in Wakiso district in Uganda, where we have it's more like a suburban area. So the idea is to sort of provide this sort of knowledge to people that don't have space where they live in the urban centers, but then to people as well who want to sort of improve and have a source of income or source of food to their family, because many people wouldn't otherwise get chance to buy fish or to buy vegetables for their family. But then, like, if you can have them do something in the small space they have, it's something that creates a lot of impact. So the idea of joint organic aquaponics is to actually be able to provide sort of a training, workshops, and support for people who would actually be interested in doing it, in sort of creating an alternative source of income or food to their families.
Okay, thank you. So after this short break, we will have our teacher Arnold Katende, who is going today to explain to us a bit of aquaponics. What is this aquaponics in detail? And those who are very much interested, we started first to know what is about a small background of what he does, so that you get to know a bit about him and about what he does. But also, he will go to teach us together, like, how is this thing, how can this thing happen in real life? How can we be able to do? So, being interested in this, go on tuning on Farm TV Africa. We'll be back soon. Yes, Mr. Arnold, you are welcome to start a session about aquaponics, which when we talk of aquaponics, I can just remember that and remind my friend there, we talk of aquaponics, my friend
Mm.
from the other street there, remember aquaponics relate two things, hydroponics and aquaculture. So we are here with these two broad things here. So you're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so basically, that's the social enterprise doing organic aquaponics that sort of trying to reach out to different communities in Uganda. And yeah, so I'll briefly explain about what aquaponics is for anyone who doesn't know or doesn't have any prior knowledge, or even someone who just has like questions about it. So, so as I said, basically the aquaponic systems are sort of is a recirculating system. So for example, in this slide, you could see like you have the fish tank where you have the fishes, and normally in aquaculture, you just have the fish sort of recirculating. You just need like an air pump, and then you can keep on sort of taking up the water and taking out the water while the fish like grows as the fish goes on growing. But with aquaponic systems, you combine what you call the hydroponics, which is mainly growth of the vegetables using without soil, and you combine that with the aquaculture, which is fish farming. So in that case, you create an ecosystem that survives together. Like it has, um, it is continuous. Like the process is continuous. So in this, you can see the fish um, produce waste. That waste is in form of ammonia, and then that waste is deposited into the water that is in the fish tank, and then that water is pumped. So usually there is a sub tank where you pump the water from the fish tank to your media bed. So that water has ammonia, and it goes to the media beds, and in that media beds you naturally have bacteria, that's like nitrifying bacteria and worms, which convert then the ammonia into nitrates, and so that nitrates is taken up by the plant. So that means that the fish waste is acting as plant fertilizer, and then the plant grows from the fish waste, which is something incredible because you don't have to apply like what they do in traditional farming, apply any chemicals, apply any fertilizer, like naturally occurring. And then usually aquaponic systems are 70% more productive. So if you have vegetables grow very fast because they have that direct access to the nitrates from the fish tank, or to the nutrients that come from the fish tank. So that water from that's in the plant. So after these plants take out the nitrates, it's more like the water is now cleaned. And when that water is cleaned, it goes back to the fish tank. So this water that goes back to the fish tank is more like renewed, it's like treated. It's like a natural sort of treatment system, which is kind of incredible, because you don't have to apply anything. It's treated, and then these fish can reutilize that water. Well, obviously, as long as you have the air pump that sort of provides the oxygen that these fish need. So you look at that as something really incredible because you save a lot of water. You don't have to apply water each and every day. Like you only have to add like a third of the fish tank like once every week, depending on like losses that you get like in forms of evaporation. But if you look at it and compare it to conventional agriculture where they grow in soil, it's a very it's a very productive thing. It's something that you look at it and say, wow, this is incredible.
Okay.
Yeah. So like there are different types of techniques that many people use. So the first one I wanted to explain is called the nutrient film technique. Um, Basically, it's similar to what I just shown. So you could see the first part is a fish tank where you have your fish, and so they produce the waste, and that waste is in form of ammonia. So you pass that waste to filters. So the use of these filters is they have this they sort of filter and take, because this waste from the fish tank, some of it has solids, so they sort of bring off those solids from that have come from the fish tank, and then the bacteria work on them to convert that the water from the fish tank to nitrates, which is then passed to this nutrient film, which is in form of like tubes that they could vary. As I say, like you could do it on different scales. So they could vary. You could have tubes of 3 meters, you could have 4 meters, you could have like vertical tubes, as we are going to see. So the idea is to grow as much vegetables as possible. So as you could see in the plant growing area, you have different holes that are growing the vegetables. And if you look at the space this takes, it's not very big space. Like it's something that someone could do in their backyard, someone that could do it on just outside their door. It's something that doesn't take a lot of space, but then you're going to be able to produce a lot of vegetables and fish for you and your family. So that's the first technique. The second one is so the second one is called the deep water culture. So this one is the one that's mainly used for people who are thinking of commercial farming. This is a small unit, but it's the same, like you just have to make it bigger. So it follows the same methodology like the nutrient film technique, where you have the fish tank, then you have the filters. As I said, the filters sort of help to prevent that solid waste from the fish tank from going into the tube. So here you could use, so as you see, these are like all materials that you could get, like recycled materials. So you have the tank, which is an IBC tank, the one that has the fish. That could be, you could reuse tanks that you previously have in your home. The filters, it could be as well like tanks that normally people would dispose of, or like they used to harvest rainwater. And then still like the major beds could be from like, you could just cut the tank, the blue tanks for the filters, or you could just use another sort of tank that doesn't have any sort of contamination before. And the idea is to have rafts. So many people use different kind of materials. So in this case, they use polyethylene, which is a material that you use, and then you just create various holes. And so you sort of put the plant, the small plant in those parts, and then the water continuously moves. So because they are indirect contact with the nutrients, the plants will grow really fast, and in a very less time, you're going to have a lot of plants. So as I said, this is very common with commercial aquaponic farmers, because you could make use of a lot of space with this kind of system and be able to grow plants and vegetables at high density. Next one. Okay, so this one is the final one, and this one is the most common and the simplest form of aquaponic system, and it's the one that most small scale farmers or people who are thinking of DIY, like do it yourself kind of people do this, because it's because of the ease of it. First, you need like the fish tank, obviously, to have the fish. Now the fish tanks can vary. Most people use around 1,000 liters, but it could be 1,000 or more. And then you have these major beds. So the major beds, or the plant growing area, most people use like volcanic rocks or rocks that are basically available in our environments, that rocks would normally don't think they even have a use. Like you just get those small rocks and then use it. What's interesting here, and what's different from the deep water culture and the nutrient film technique with this media bed, here you don't need to put a filter, because the rocks act as that. So the rocks have the bacteria there, the nitrifying bacteria. So as the water passes through the rock, the plants are able to get the nutrients, and the bacteria are able to take out the ammonia, which is toxic to the fish, and convert it to the nitrates. So the plants grow, and I would say it's the simplest system for anyone who wants to start out with an aquaponic system, because basically you need three components. You need a fish tank, you need something called the sump. The sump is where you put your your pump. So there are aquaponic systems you could do without a pump, because that's also a challenge to many people, that, oh yeah, I need a pump, and that's complicated. But you could do the system without a pump. But if you want to produce a bit more crops or vegetables, it's recommended to have a pump, because then you can get the water from the fish tank through to the media beds, and you could control what velocity or what the quantity of water that goes. And obviously when it's going back to the fish tank, it's by gravity, so you just need one pump. And then also most people in this technique puts like an air pump in the fish tank to sort of act as a backup, especially in communities in developing countries where there isn't stable electricity. So it kind of helps them to have an air pump in the fish tank that can sort of run on solar panels, for example. So I would say this is the most common and simplest system of the three.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Before we go on a bit, I would like to, if you may repeat again, this is called the joint organic aquaponics. Uh, how, like, it's available also as a website, this joint organic aquaponics. Can you explain a bit of it, like, as a website? How has it been that much? Like, how has the impact been in the real society? Have you seen real people accept, like, seeing the things, seeing this as very helpful to them? Has it, like, how has it been the impact? And if you can, so that as you can go on, so that we can be able to show people so the importance of them understanding it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So basically, like having a website has sort of enabled the project to reach different places, not just because the project is in Uganda, but as of today, like the website has over 650 views from 30 countries around the world. So obviously, like many people are learning a lot about what aquaponic systems are, or getting to know what aquaponic systems are. So I think the impact ideally would be like for small scale and people who are interested in agriculture, like small scale farmers. But uh, I've had contacts from people who have emailed me or like sent me a message on the website that they're interested in, for example, visiting the farm and seeing what we have, especially like people from Uganda, that they're interested in seeing the farm and being able to visit and learn about aquaponics. Because if you ask many people like what aquaponics is, most people wouldn't be able to tell you what it is. So the idea of the website mainly partly was because we wanted to sort of upload resources and be able to provide some sort of reference center for people uh, that need resources, because most of these systems you wouldn't have in a rural setting. You wouldn't have someone come and talk to you about it, but it is something there like a website, and so providing the online support to the people is something really vital. Like it's something that can reach there, not just to the small community where the project is, but to the whole country, whole Africa and the whole world. So it's been a great decision, I would say, and I believe in future I'm working on like different materials, interactive videos, and farm tours, like for people to be able to experience it even without coming to the farm. And obviously we are open to answering questions and being able to provide any kind of support we can to anyone interested.
Okay, that's so great. So is it only website, this joint organic aquaponics, or there other ways by which people can reach you more and more to get more information about this
Yeah, so
aquaponics?
we have a Facebook page which is Joint Organic Aquaponics, and then we have an Instagram account, and it's still like people can reach either way. I have them on the final slide, so like if anyone wants to reach out. So oh, and I think many people also reach out through WhatsApp. So on the website there is what on on the Facebook page and the website, there is access where people can directly message, like on WhatsApp, because that's like an easier way to communicate. And yeah, so there is um, a lot of points of contact. You know, if you just type in joint organic aquaponics on the Facebook page, you'll see what um, what what the contact details are. You know, they are there, and then on the website there is still contact details. And if someone is interested in watching like YouTube videos, still if you put in YouTube joint organic aquaponics, there is some videos explaining about the project and the idea basically, and the mission, you know, of how we want to create an impact to people who are not like familiar with aquaponics.
Okay, that's great. So we are going on as you go on. I think, yeah, because you already told the three methods by which people can do this aquaponic system. I think I'll mainly be about the importance, something like that, if I can get coming forward also, yeah, and other technical issues. So you can go on explaining to people so that people can really know how this aquaponics really means to nowadays life, and as simple technology as this, by which maybe sometimes because of not understanding we felt like we can do nothing. Well, at the same time I can eat fish and I can enjoy against some vegetables or against some fruits if possible. Okay.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, so here we have like sort of I put this forward about examples of different systems you are doing. So on the bottom right, you could see it's they are trying to integrate the kind of the idea for aeroponics, which also is similar to aquaponics, and it integrates like growing plants in vertical spaces. So here you could see like the the plants they are growing, they, you know, it's so space efficient. Just look at that, like that, if that major bed is down, it would be like 1.5 meters, but then there, like you have two major beds in just 1 meter or less, you know. So it's something that is, it's incredible for the growing population and for people, especially in urban centers. With a very little space, you could be able to grow food not just for your family but for the whole community. And they, at the bottom right, we have an example of the deep water culture. As I explained, you could see the quantity um, of lettuce that's grown in that space. In just that small space, you could see so much lettuce that's growing. It looks organic because it doesn't have any chemicals, and it's healthy, and you know it's very productive. Like it grows in less time. There is a lot of nutrients. It doesn't have any weeds. Like it looks so good. Like same thing with like on the bottom left where you have you could see like the fish tank. So obviously, as I said, the system varies depending on what you want. So in this case, you could see the fish tank that's the blue fish tank that's so big, and then you see the plumbing. So most people are scared about the plumbing because they think, oh my God, this is, you know, advanced technology, but it's basically water, you know, flowing. And if you learn the basics of sort of recycling the system, it kind of works very well for you. Like, so it's nothing complicated. And I just thought that those are very good examples of basically, because like if you see the picture down here on the bottom left, it's sort of, it's an education center that as many people are trying to create awareness about aquaponics. So if you see the letter A, which is the nutrient film technique, they are sort of trying to teach people about the different kind of techniques, because some spaces like it's easier to do one than the other. So especially nutrient film technique is very good in very small spaces, because you could use the, you could slack like various pipes in the same area and you would still produce what you want. And then that's A. Then B is is the is the media beds, and then C is the deep water culture, and then D at the end is the fish tank. So it sort of gives you the idea of how productive and how relevant these systems are. And you know, many people are already doing it, just that most people don't know where to find information about the systems basically.
Okay.
Yeah, so here like there are some benefits that I put as much as I could think about. So first we're talking about sustainable and organic food, as I said, like there is no chemicals or nothing that's going to contaminate. Because if you look at, for example, the current industry that's we're talking about, the oceans, the plastic and all that. So sometimes we don't know what we eat in the fish. But then, so most people, as the level, the standards of living are increasing, people are moving more to looking for something that's sustainable and organic. So that's why I say that I think aquaponics is a potential for future farming. Because basically most people want to eat something that has no chemicals. That is organic and is very good for their health. And then we talk of something that's like having two agricultural products. We are talking the fish and vegetables from just one nitrogen source. So in the system, all you have to put in is the fish food, which could vary from a lot of sources. So some people use like natural plants like the morera plant, and others like have locally sourced sort of foods rich in proteins and rich in protein. So it helps many people because then like it's the fish, as long as you could have them accustomed to the kind of food that's locally available in your community, they could produce with the little input that you have. So you basically, from the little input that's already in your environment, you could have two things. That's the fish and vegetables, which is a huge benefit compared in other systems like hydroponics that only provide vegetables. So talking about extremely water efficient, as I said, these systems use 90% water, less water. They are far more productive, 70% more productive, and the waste is very little because the water is completely recycled. And if you do everything well, you never even have to change the water because like everything is completely recycled. So it does not require fertilizer, soil, or chemicals. Like the system occurs naturally. You could use what you have naturally to run your aquaponic system at your home. So level of biosecurity is high, and then you have lower risks of outer contaminants. In lakes there is like a lot of plastic, a lot of heavy metal that are in sort of fragments that the fish consume, and that's not good for people and biosecurity. People have gotten different complications for health from eating such things. So this provides a solution as well to those kind of people who are careful and want to take care of their health. Then it can be grown in areas that normally wouldn't support agriculture. So if you look at the places that support agriculture, they are not as much. So we have many places that are not in use because like no one has thought, well, what can we do with this land? Well, aquaponics is there. You could do that in the desert, you could do it in degraded soil that are salty or sandy. The systems could still work because you don't need the soil, you just need that space to set up the system, and that could help to feed the ever-growing population in the world. So the tasks are easy and can be done by anyone. So obviously, like many people always think of agriculture as a dirty job, and most people don't want to get dirty, basically. But if you look at these systems, they've been, if for example, if someone is, for example, let's say someone uses a wheelchair, or someone is, or young children, adolescents, that you can have your major bets depending on who's going to work. So you could sort of personalize it. So even if it's someone who's like 12 years old and they want to work on it, they could help you out. Even if it's someone who can't stand, they could still work while sitting because you could have your major beds on any level that you want. So that's a benefit for many people that are always left out in farming and in the physical jobs. It's sort of an advantage that reaches out and creates inclusion for like different kinds of people. So talking about, it's easily scalable and the construction materials are widely available. That's basically, you could do it at any scale and anywhere in the world because the materials could be built from recycled materials. The system can entirely be run on solar energy in places that don't have energy or electricity. So that those are so many benefits for someone to actually consider this as an option for growing their vegetables and fish. Yeah, so weaknesses or things that most people um, feel are sort of like barriers to them starting or setting up aquaponic systems. First is the initial startup capital. Most people say, I need a lot of money. I need to buy the fish tank. I need to buy the major beds. I need to look um, for a water tank. I need to look for air pump. So it it may seem complicated, but as I said, most people could use the materials that are readily available and materials that they have in their community. But still, that stays a challenge to most people because uh, as much as it's cheap, some people may not have like the startup capital, so that becomes a barrier to them. And then fish and plant requirements sometimes don't match perfectly. So this has also become a challenge because like most people wouldn't aren't very sure about how um, how how many fish they should put with with uh, with with how many plants, which makes things complicated. But a general rule of aquaponics is we would say you could consider like most systems would consider having like, let's say, one fish that's like around 500 grams in every 20 liters of water. So like there are many systems and obviously like it depends on what works best for someone. But as I said, like most of these systems is you could customize the system, so you could try with lower fishing densities in your tank and then sort of see which works for you. But as a general rule of thumb, so if you have like a 1,000 liter water tank, basically you put something like 40 or 50 fish. That's like the minimum, right? But obviously it could be more. And then technical knowledge is also a barrier to many people, especially if someone doesn't have any knowledge about hydroponics or vegetable growing and aquaculture. Having a knowledge is an advantage, but that doesn't mean you can't do it without that. Most people try now with the digital technology in the world. You could literally do anything you want. Anything is on the internet, so it helps to sort of be positive about it. Other limitation people say is like the energy demanding because you need a stable source of electricity or like the renewable energy like solar power, which is readily available in many countries in Africa and in the tropics. So yeah, that becomes a challenge as well because some people say, okay, in my place I don't have reliable electricity. So maybe when the power goes, then my water pump will stop working and all my fish will die. And that's a risk that most people don't want to take. As you know, they say a mistake or accident can cause a collapse in the system. But as I said, all that these are precautions that you always have to take in consideration. So most places that don't have reliable electricity, you could supplement that with, for example, solar energy, especially in the tropics. And then most people say like daily management can be a problem, and then access to electricity, fish, and then plant. And then aquaponics as well won't provide a complete diet, but as I said, it sort of provides an option and a may not have a complete diet, but then it sort of provides a chance for people to have at least a source of income from selling the fish and vegetables. So basically, that those are the weaknesses about people who talk about the systems.
So great. I hope people have got something which they needed because there were some questions being asked in the comments. So I said let us stop because it's what we are going to talk about what are the benefits of these aquaponics system, and I think people have got to know. But also you have shared about the weaknesses of this system because this helps people to know how when they enter in the system they know how this has some of the weaknesses, so how they can overcome. I think it's very good. Thank you so much. And I will just have some simple comments here. And if you have a certain question, seeing in the place there, the comment section, please throw out your question there so that Mr. Arnold can be able to answer your question. He's here to make sure that you understand something from this aquaponics. And as you move here, you go if it's your first time, please you come out with this. If also you know it, you increase more and more so that you can become more expert. So I will just throw out some questions so that you can ask, and then we'll finish up with a session, which there are some of the issues you still have to speak up on.
Yeah.
Okay, this was from Respect, who was asking, are you available for partnerships with other African startups with your joint organic aquaponics?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, definitely. I feel like if partnerships are so important, especially in the field of agriculture, which has the potential, like, because look at the current situation with the pandemic and everything, food still stays, so important in our communities. So definitely, if anyone wants to reach out for like partnerships or sort of talk and share knowledge, because I believe of like someone may not be doing basically aquaponics, but maybe they're doing hydroponics or they're doing something that's not even related to aquaponics. It could be like another kind of growing, but partnerships are always, I think, important to broaden like the connection and support each other, because maybe I may not be able to help that person, but I could uh, link them or connect them with someone I know. So I would say, yeah.
Okay. Then this is not a question, but it's just Mr. Ansel Dennis says, congratulations, brother. Keep it up. I hope he was following up on the all the sessions when you
Thank
made
you,
it.
Andy.
Yeah. Okay. So we are going on so that you can be able to finish up the session by with the other last words. Maybe you may have some of the session to share with people as goes by.
Yeah, so these partners are basically for the project Joint Organic Aquaponics. So Chokla Investment is the company, is an agriculture startup as well in Uganda that's helping us to sort of manage and look after the farm. And as well, like it's a collaboration to reach out to different communities and to be able um, to sort of improve the impact. As I said, like I'm always open to more partners and connections. And GenFarm is a social enterprise that um, won the resolution project last year, and it's training farmers in northern Uganda about how like financial literacy trainings and agriculture-based input support can help farmers, to improve and get access to markets and everything they do for their goods. So that's like a project being led by one of my friends, Alan and Colin. So big shout out to them. And I feel like there's a lot of opportunity for people to network and to learn about partnerships. So those are currently the two partners that we have as joint organic aquaponics. And so, as I said, like to create the project and to be able to do the impact, the Joint Organic Aquaponics has been supported by the MasterCard Foundation. So that's the Social Entrepreneurship Fund at Earth University, which aims to provide startup capital to projects that are creating a social change in the environment, and as well by the Pestalozzi International Development Fund, which is a school, a UK-based charity. So I'm an alumni of the school, and they also support projects that are working on creating social change. So I'm really glad, and I would like to thank them for the support they've given us, and we hope like with that we could be able to create the impact that in the community. Because without them, as I said, most people say the startup income is a lot, and so they've been able to support and provide um, mentorship in different kinds of ways. And I think like they obviously like in Africa, and many people may not have access to funding, and that can be a problem. But as I said, you could always scale up, and that's the idea we want to bring to the people. That's why I asked for the fund, because I wanted to create a bigger impact and sort of create that awareness that with the little you have, you could do an impact and, you know, reach out to different people. So big thanks to both of the Mastercard and Pestalozzi. And so basically that's the end. So the first link is the website, which is jointorganicaquaponics.com. And then the second one is Jog Aqua, which is our Instagram page, and then we have our Facebook page at Joint Organic Aquaponics. So if anyone has any more questions or just wants to reach out, you know, the contacts are open and it's readily available for, you know, for sharing and collaborating on different things and possible, you know, everything. Thank you.
Okay. But I feel like if it's possible, please, can you repeat it again so that people can get to know more? You know, these contacts are very important. Even if you repeat 7 times, is not bad, provided that so that people can be able to reach you easily.
Yeah, so as I said, like on the website, that's like Joint Organic Aquaponics. So it's basically the name of the site of the project. And then there you could reach us on all the media, like everything I put there, the Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The handles are there on the website, and then the website as well has videos, and we are hoping to upload more content this month, explaining more and providing like insight into the farm we are developing in Wakiso district in Uganda. And then on our Instagram page, we also put regular updates about project progress, and not just the project progress, but as well the resources that may be useful, like documents from like the Food and Agriculture Organization, and links to like different things that we feel like will be useful for people who are interested in aquaponics. And on our Facebook page as well, there is a lot of content that's similar to the Instagram page. And there on the Facebook page as well, we have our WhatsApp contact. So if you go on the button on the Facebook page, you could directly send us a WhatsApp, and that's way easier. I know most people prefer using WhatsApp.
Okay, so great. Thank you so much. I will finish up with some comments from the people who were on. Yeah, this is Respect Team Siwa came back again, and what I'm saying is that's awesome. Already attended. Keep on doing great. So go on working, brother. And
Respect. Thank
people,
you, respect. My
people
report.
here. Yeah. So and they said it was Elvis Fabricio Carranza. This was saying good job. So all of them they're there seeing, and hopefully also they have learned something from you today. They
Yeah,
might be.
and can I just I just saw here Gambian respect as something which I think I didn't talk about, which is
Yeah.
explaining the benefits of such a system in plant and disease management. Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's something I actually forgot to talk about. Like the another benefit of these systems is like there is, because most of them are ideal, you could have it in a small greenhouse or in a garage, and that helps you a lot to sort of manage the pests and diseases. So like you wouldn't have, because obviously if you're in a greenhouse, is a controlled environment, so you wouldn't have as much pests and diseases as you would have in soil-based agriculture. And you know, obviously that applies a lot to many African communities, because most of the input farmers put in Africa is towards fighting the pests and diseases. So that's also provides a viable solution to those people that are suffering with the pests and diseases. I feel like, you know, it's something, the advantages are so much, and I feel like it's it's something that is a good management, because you don't, most of the management we currently have cause harm to the environment, like they degrade the soil. But with the aquaponic system, like, you know, they don't do that, because you have a controlled environment, and that enables you to actually have higher produce. So thank you so much. Respect for the question.
Okay, that's great. So thank you so much too for your time, for being here with us, making sure that people in different places of the world also are able to get something from this aquaponic systems, whereby it's a very, very simple technology. Yeah, thank you so much for taking your time. Thank you for all those who were together with us from the beginning to the end. And this will be the end of our session today, by which it's the beginning of our next session to see other people who are impacting in our world. And especially we as Africans, we need to do something. Yeah, we start with small and we keep on increasing more and more. So thank you so much for your time over here, and may the projects that you are still thinking or you are still hoping to implement happen as you wish. May God
Yeah,
bless you, brother.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting
Maybe
me
if
in
you
this.
have some words to encourage your brothers and sisters who see agriculture like
Yeah,
that.
obviously, yeah, definitely. I think like most of us always think that I'll wait till I have enough money to start up a business. I'll wait till I have funding to start up something. But obviously, always, it's good to work on your idea and to believe in yourself. Like all opportunities come to people that are ready. So you don't have to wait till you see an opportunity to start thinking of, oh, how can I create something? How can I have something to feed my family? So you could sort of start with, what you have. Internet is there. If you have access to internet, there is a lot of information you could basically read. Reading anything is no wasted time. You read and you learn, and when that opportunity comes you feel ready for the system. So I would say, like, for anyone who, and agriculture has a big potential, though most of us don't realize it, and most people don't really think it's a good profession, but I think it's more like the heart of the world, because you can't survive without food. So there is a lot of opportunities and the gap that people need to close in agriculture. And I think, like, most people won't realize that until they, open their eyes and be open to learning and trying out new things. It doesn't matter if you fail on the first try. If you fail, that's still a learned experience. And so I just feel like, people should believe in themselves and just try out, everything that comes their way, either way you learn. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So you can get more to know the joint organic aquaponics. This one, just go on website and you will be able to see many, many things. It's good clips there, how he explains more about the system and all other good issues about the system. So thank you so much, Mr. Arnold, and thank you so much for your time and all the people you're working with in the system so that to make sure things happen in the future, in the near future. So thank you so much and greet them also.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.